listening to Let's Stay Together, a podcast about Fruits Basket by Natsuki Takaya. I'm Ellen.
And I'm Kayla.
And today we're going to discuss the last 3 chapters of Furuba.
Oh my god.
It's happening, finally. Is it like, finally, or like, finally? Question mark.
Finally, it's happening to me.
Is that a song? I don't know.
Yes.
All right.
It's a very 90s song.
You mean like, quit playing games with my heart? Like that? I mean...
Yes. Almost as 90s as that.
This was a friendly reminder to send any questions that you have for us for the episode. So this is coming out Wednesday. We're probably going to record Saturday. So...
No, this one's the unfriendly reminder.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sorry. I was supposed to make this threatening.
This
You better send us
demand.
fucking questions for our fucking episode. Is that good? Did I do it right? The only way I know how to be more threatening is to swear. That's how you do it, right?
Close enough.
Yes, please send us some questions. We got a couple. I would like more. It was fun last time. If you have the time, so you have a couple more days to send questions. I'll send reminders on our social networking channels before we record. That's what the kids call them these days, right?
Is it?
They're just like, what, you don't use TikTok? I don't even know how to
do you like
TikTok.
a reminder to some kind of mimetic dance you made up?
Mimetic dance.
At least that's my understanding of TikTok.
I don't know. Let's talk about the rest of Furuba. Let's get on with it.
I'm right.
Chapter 134 opens with Kyo's narration. I know that my beads are in her room. She keeps them with her mom. She didn't want to throw them away. I think that's exactly what her heart is like. Kyo and Tohru make their way through the zoo on their first date. And after stopping by the mini horses, Tohru isn't sure where to go next.
I like how she calls the mini horse a mini Isuzu-san.
Yes. And the horse is like, I want snacks, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then is disappointed when they don't give them something. Tohru isn't sure of where to go next, and Kyo tells her to just go in what order of the things that she wants to see. Then we better head straight to the elephants, Uo says. They don't have giraffes. Hana adds, and Kyo's like, no one asked your opinion. Uo and Hana continue to complain about what isn't the zoo, and Kyo's like, go home then. And then Uo sasses that you should go somewhere flashy on a first date, like an amusement park or a bigger zoo. Kyo tells her to keep her voice down, and as the crowd gathers, she yells, so you're the type who can't stand heights, aren't you? You can't ride Ferris wheels, can you? Your beep is beep. And he's like, I don't know, I've never ridden a Ferris wheel, and don't say those words in public. Somewhere she shows shedding a single tear because he never gave Kyo the opportunity to ride a Ferris wheel.
I know, I was like, aw.
So, like, third to last chapter of the story, we could still be sad about all things Kyo hasn't done in his life. Tohru breaks up the fight by suggesting that they go and pet cats, and Uo and Hana are suddenly placated, and they tell her they're just giving Kyo a hard time, and he's like, this is exhausting. They go to see the cats, and are like, look how cute they are, etc., 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 including the giant black cat that Hana cuddles that truly suits her more than anything in the world ever could. Kyo nervously makes eye contact with the cat, and when it realizes there are no treats or pets coming from him, the cat turns and leaves. Tohru sits beside him cuddling a kitty and gives him a reassuring smile. That day, he narrates, when I pulled my beads apart, I watched Tohru quietly pick them up, and in his memory, Tohru kneels to the ground and delicately collects the beads into a handkerchief. She holds them close to her chest and smiles, and he narrates, they were proof that I was a monster. Even now, I wouldn't mind if she threw them into a fire, but after a few years, maybe I would have regretted not picking them up. I thought that at the time, but I still couldn't move. She picked them up for me. It was like she was protecting both my present self and future self, or even something beyond me. Maybe she was trying to pick up the far-off feelings of everyone who lived with wearing those beads. I don't know, but I do know one thing. I know that loving someone isn't always just loving what's in front of you. There's also the past and the future. Loving someone means embracing it all. Or that's what I think anyway. At the zoo, he watches Tohru smiling with Uo and Hana and can't help but smile himself. When I look at her, that's what I think. Elsewhere, Yuki visits Kakeru and Komaki. Yuki will be living on his own and attending college somewhere far away in the spring. Can you live on your own? Kakeru asks. I don't want to visit and find a dead body. You know what they say, learn by doing. I'd like to try, Yuki says.
He's gonna die.
He's definitely gonna die. Is this his philosophy, like cooking, where he's just like, I think I'll give it a whirl. I think I'll giving on.
What was it he said? It was like, I just lack like determination or something.
Yeah, he's like, I understand in principle. And he's like, please don't. Komaki asks if Machi knows about this, and Yuki says that she does. She's fine with it. Ooh, I guess you've climbed the stairway to adulthood, Kakeru teases again, and Yuki's like, if you say that to Machi, she'll definitely hurt you. Komaki asks about looking for an apartment, and Yuki says he talked to Ayame about it, and Kakeru's like, let me guess, he got all crazy and excited on you, and Yuki's like, exactly, and we cut away to where Yuki will be living. Ayame steps out into the light and says, behold, Mine, the clear blue sky, the budding greenery, you cannot help but acknowledge that this land is truly fitting for Yuki's empire. I declare this very moment that I have perceived it, judged it, and have acted. I will establish this place with a sounding crash as Yuki's place. And a man nearby is like, stop cheering, this isn't a residence. At Komaki's, Yuki... I think it's at Komaki's house or Kakeru's house, right? I don't know.
I think it says somewhere later. Hang on.
I don't know. It just said Yuki was like, you want to go visit Kakeru? Tamachi? So... At Kakeru's house, you can only hope that they're finding him a normal place. But I'm not holding my breath, he says. And Kakeru's like, come on, dream big. Yuki asks about his plans. Kakeru says he'll go to college. She was planning to take over Komaki's family's dry cleaning business, but everyone insisted that he go to college first. Komaki says that he should go, and he's smart. Just like he learned things at his part-time jobs, there's some things you can only learn in college. Keep talking like that, and your boyfriend's gonna end up having an affair with a college girl, he says. And Komaki's like, I'm not worried about it. What do you think of our dumb couple act? Kakeru says, and Yuki's like, well, dumb is one word for it. Komaki asks if they're nervous about getting into college, and both Kakeru and Yuki at the same time are like, no. And she thinks if other entrance exam students heard that, I bet they'd get mad. Back at the zoo, Tohru goes to the restroom, leaving Kyo alone and vulnerable with Uo and Hana. He wonders how Hana never sweats the way she dresses, and she's like, it's through sheer force of willpower. And he's like, don't read my mind. She suddenly looks upset and says, you're going to take her away, aren't you? She remembers Tohru, Uo, and herself together in their middle school uniforms and looks down sadly. Kyo starts to stammer apologies, but she's like, I'll forgive you if you call me mommy right here and now. And Kyo's like, what the hell? Are you telling me to drop dead? Uo says to cut him some slack. We may not look it, but we like you. We can't seem to hate you even though you're a complete dumbass. I think it's because you're a good guy. Even if you are stupid, Hana adds, and Uo's like, totally stupid. Uo says, Toru's our best friend. One of us, family. We really, seriously want you to take good care of her. Got that? And you can leave your father to me, Hana adds, and he's like, that has nothing to do with this. Tohru returns after the long bathroom line and finds Kyo leaning against a wall, sulking about the possibility of Hana and Shisho being an item, and it's like, huh? Hana and Uo have left, so they can finally be alone. Kyo asks if they can make a stop on their way home. At Komaki's, Machi has arrived, bearing the best gift that any guest can bring, which is a bag of meat. Kakeru teases that if she cooked it, it'd turn black, and she's like, shut up. And then Komaki is, of course, ecstatic. Yuki says that he's glad that she came because she was hesitant. Because I'd rather be alone with you, Kakeru teases again, and Machi is like, I didn't want to come here because you always say stuff like that, Manabe. So you climbed the stairway to adulthood, he says, and Machi punches him in the face through the bag of meat, and Yuki's like, I warned you, and Komaki's like, the meat!
She's just tenderizing it.
Yes, it has to be prepared. It's part of the process.
You smash it in your brother's face a few times.
Yes.
That's how you get nice tender meat.
Yes. Everybody knows that's the true secret to delicious tasting meat. It was all planned. That's the prophecy foretold. Kyo, meanwhile, has taken Tohru to visit her mother's grave. He's finally able to say what he wanted to tell her. After I graduate, I think I want to leave here, he says. I'm not being pessimistic or weird. It's not like that, he says in response to her concerned look. I spent my whole life avoiding the world. I was trying to keep from getting involved. I think that maybe I was in a situation where people would expect that, so I took advantage of it. But things are different now. I'm a normal person and I can live in the world with you, like a normal person. That makes me really happy. So I want to get involved in everything. I want to test myself more in other places. Smoke rises from the incense burning at the grave and tears well up in Toru's eyes, he says. And he says, if that's okay, I want to do it all together with you. That's the end of chapter 134.
Dun-dun.
Oh. Chapter 135 opens again at the graveyard where we left off, and Tohru asks where Kyo will go. Kyo says that he's tried to find a place on his own once before, but Shisho stopped him. Shisho knows someone who has a dojo far away. He can attend the dojo while working. We see what seems like maybe Toru's imagined future. She walks down a road, wrapped bento in hand, ring on her finger, and Kyo and two other karateka greet her as she approaches. After all, Kyo says in the present, I'll inherit Shisho's dojo one day, and I'll have to be prepared. Outside experiences, both good and bad, will come in handy. I know the stuff I'm saying probably sounds really naive, and I know I shouldn't pull you away from everyone who likes you. I know it's selfish, but I don't want to keep living a life where I'm fooling myself. Tohru says he's right, and with a warm smile, there's not a single reason for you to fool yourself. Shisho-san must have been really happy when you told him that. I think I understand how he feels. We see the conversation. Shisho smiles, and we see the narration. He's talking about the future. He wants to live. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, Tohru says. I'll go. We'll go together. Kyo was like, are you sure? It's far. We might be poor. He didn't expect her to answer right away. I may not look at it if there's something that I shouldn't back down from. I'll never back down. I'm pretty stubborn, she says, with a sweet smile and a chuckle. She says it's okay. She can make her own decisions. Tohru kneels in front of the grave. There's one thing I still want to tell you, she says. I'm sure Mom never hated you, Kyo-kun. Even if she said she wouldn't forgive you, she didn't say it out of hate. I know it. She stands and says she won't back down. She'll go with him. Leaving everyone will be sad, but she can't be apart from him. I want to always be by your side. I don't want to be apart. I don't want to wait for you. Please take me with you, she says, and they hug. Kyo says, thank you. I'll take you with me, he says, and he looks over at Kyoko's grave, remembering Kyoko waving and smiling as he ran away after Tohru was found. I'll keep my promise, he says. It took me a really long time, but now I'll keep it my whole life, okay? Kyo and Tohru smile and leave the graveyard holding hands. Crap, what do I do? This is bad. I can't hear anything and it doesn't even hurt. It's warm and cold. Why is it so dark and quiet? This isn't real, right? This isn't good. Tohru, I think I'm dying. Kyoko lies in a pool of blood on the ground after the car accident. Thoughts flash through her head. What do? No, I don't want to die. I don't want to leave Tohru alone. This can't be happening. Kyoko remembers Tohru smiling, leaving her sleeping in their apartment earlier that morning. You don't say goodbye to people like this. If I'm gone, what's going to happen to her? She just got into high school. She's still just a kid. She's still... Katsuya, I understand now. Leaving people behind, being left behind, they're both so hard. I'm sorry, Tohru. I'm sorry. Did I love you enough? You know, I wanted to love you so much more. Somebody please protect her. She's not very good at crying for herself, but if she's crying, stay with her. Please, somebody, protect my treasure. Hey, Kyoko says. People crowd around her, and in the crowd she makes out Kyo and remembers him as a child. She remembers their promise and starts to cry. Even if you forget me, she thinks, if you see her, please remember. The next time she gets lost, you have to find her. Please, just once is enough. You, she struggles to say. If you don't pay your tab, she thinks, and says, I won't forgive you. Kyo runs. Kyoko thinks, please somehow take my place and protect her. Oh, it feels like I'm sinking. I'm sorry. I guess this is goodbye. Please let Tohru be happy. Please let her be loved by many people. I want her to live so that people can tell her, you did good. Repeat the good and the bad. Do it all and pile on the years. The crowd of the accident tries to call an ambulance. The other driver is unconscious too, but it's all too late. Kyoko wakes up on the shore of a beautiful beach and Katsuya walks over to meet her, barefoot. She's in her middle school uniform again. He smiles and extends his hand to her and she cries. The chapter closes on the sea and the narration. You did good.
Aw.
That was the one where I teared up this time. Every time I read this series, it's different every time. Alright, for the final chapter, it opens at school. It's graduation day. Hana, Uo, Kyo, Yuki, and Tohru line up for a photo with their diplomas, and Tohru narrates, on the day of graduation, there was a perfect sunny sky. The wind was gentle, and the floating clouds were beautiful. It was like they were all blessing our graduations and new beginnings. The day was also the start of my new beginning with Kyo-kun. Later, Tohru has finished cleaning up the rooms. Everything is packed. Tonight they'll stay at Shisho's and then head out tomorrow. Tohru says that it reminds her of the day she first came to this room. Shigure and Yuki were nice. She was nervous, and then Kyo-kun broke through the roof, she says, pointing up, and he's like, I guess I did. Then everyone turned into animals, which was shocking, of course, but still it was fun, she says. I had fun here. I love the days I spent with everyone. They were so dear to me. I will miss them after all, she says, a little sad, and Kyo comforts her. Can I think like that because I love those days, she wonders. The more you love something, the harder it is to say goodbye. Kyo says she doesn't get it. You don't realize how much everyone loves you, seriously. You're not saying goodbye for the rest of your life. This is just the start of a new banquet, right? Yes, she says with a bright smile, and then her stomach rumbles and she's suddenly embarrassed and apologizes, and Kyo says it's weird that she's embarrassed. Meanwhile, Yuki visits Machi. He gives her a key for his new apartment so she can make sure that he's not cheating on her. I wouldn't think that, she says. He smiles and then stands and pulls the key away, and she's like, I'm lying. Honesty is always the best policy, I say, Yuki says, and gives her back the key. She clutches it and is like, you're the definition of terrible. They're made for each other. She asks if he's sad about leaving, and he says of course. She says she's sad too. She won't be able to see him as easily. So, I'll go after you, no matter what. I'll follow you, she says. Yuki smiles softly and pulls her close and strokes her cheek. Then, I'll be waiting, he says. At the main house, Ritsu and Kakura go through some of Ritsu's clothes and they chat. Shigeru apparently stopped writing and moved back into the main house. His editor, Mitsuru, was super happy about it. Kakura wonders if they'll get married and asks when Ritsu will marry Mitsuru. And he's like, what? Mary? I'm so, and freaks out and almost rips apart a kimono. And Kakura's like, not that kimono, you're giving me that one. Kakura is like, fine, join the lovey-dovey bandwagon. I don't care. My job is more fun right now anyway. And Ritsu is like, you want them to be happy, don't you? And she's like, regardless of how I feel, they will be happy. The two remember meeting Tohru, Ritsu crying on the roof, and Kakura letting Kyo go. Elsewhere, Kisa and Hiro walk together. They talk about what will become Shigeru's house and the departure tomorrow. Kisa starts to cry. She says that she'll smile at the send-off tomorrow, and Hiro tells her not to worry about it. Go ahead and cry as much as you want. I mean, I know how much you love her. Kisa remembers stroking Toru's hand after biting her as a tiny tiger, and Hiro remembers her tackle-hugging him as punishment when he was being an asshole. Momiji hangs out with Haru and Rin. Sensei was laughing, Haru says. He said Toru said someone would hit him, but it ended up okay. Duh, Momiji says, we're all more grown up than Shi-chan is. And Haru is like, we've grown up, while Rin listens with a glare and like a ... expression. Momiji says Kyo is being totally selfish. I want to pinch that Kyo, and Haru's like, why not pinch him tomorrow? Momiji's like, I can't do that in front of Toru. But at least that jerk gave me something new to dream about. I'm going to find myself the best girlfriend in the world soon. Then I'll bring her to him and so I can show her off. So Toru has to be happy. I want her to smile from now until forever. Rin, Haru, and Momiji remember meeting Toru, crying all over her, in Rin's case, bonding over their mommy issues in Momiji's. Momiji smiles warmly. I think she should break up with him, Rin says, and Momiji's like, oh, she's mad, and Haru's like, she's sulking. In the hall, Shisho comments to Hana that they seem to be enjoying themselves, and Kunimitsu regrets hiring her as a cook. Shisho and Hana talk about the departure. Of course I'll miss him, Shisho says, but I won't worry about him. I think you're right, Hana says, and they remember their important moments with Toru as well. Elsewhere, Uo speaks to Credo on the phone. She'll give them his regards tomorrow. She asks if the cherry blossoms are blooming where he is yet. She guesses that she'll be setting out soon, too. Have a meal ready for me, will ya? She says. Tororo soba, he asks, and she smiles bright, and they too remember significant moments they had with Toru. At the shop, Ayame and Mine find the perfect going-away dress gifts for Toru. Bien fait, Mine, our mission is of great importance, Ayame says, to lead them into a fascinating and elegant lifestyle. It really is only for children to leave the nest, Mine says. But of course, Ayame says, this is precisely why adults are to put sickening amounts of love into stuffing cardboard boxes with instant ramen, socks, maid outfits, and what have you. These boxes will be given in place of their feelings, for the children, wherever they may go. Ayame remembers meeting Toru and spending time with her and smiles. Mine smiles and then pulls up another dress. How about we send this one for little brother? He can still make it work, she says with a glint in her eye. Thus we must send Yuki an article of even greater Beyonce quality than these, every week if we must. I enjoyed this scene very much. Elsewhere, great teacher Mayako with short hair and Hattori discuss a trip to Okinawa. He's never been on a decent vacation and has invited her. There are many places in Japan that he's never been to, and he wants to start at the south end and work his way up. It's a great idea, and I like that it's so unlike you, Hattori-kun, Mayako teases. Hattori-kun on a southern island, Hattori-kun in short sleeves. I can't even imagine you in a swimsuit. Hattori takes all her teasing in stride, but then she suddenly turns away darkly. I'm sorry, I'm the one who's ridiculous in a swimsuit. It's just my figure, my chest, I'm so tall. Hattori starts to giggle, and she's like, please stop. She changes the subject to tomorrow's send-off, and he says he'll be going. I hope the weather is clear, he says. Elsewhere, Shigeru and Akito are on their way home. Instead of doing something fun, Akito says that she has to work because Shigeru is going to send off tomorrow. She won't be going. What does it matter? She says, anytime I want to see her, I'll just go see her. And Shigeru asks if she'll be bringing him on these little excursions. She smiles a coy smile, and he says, you cunning girl, and rubs her head affectionately. Arm around her back, they head home. Shigeru remembers saying to Toru that maybe someone needs someone like her, and Akito remembers visiting her in the hospital. Later, Yuki returns home and runs into Kyo in the hall. He wants to talk to Toru alone, and Kyo tells him that she's in the living room. Hey, Yuki says, as they part. Make sure you keep your act together. Don't mess up, you stupid cat. Kyo smiles a little smile and says, stupid rat, my life's none of your business. And Yuki smiles a small smile, too. He finds Toru sitting alone on the porch, looking out at the yard. She hears him slide the door open and calls, Yuki-kun, welcome back. So you're finally leaving tomorrow, he says, and she's like, yes. I won't get to hear you say welcome back anymore, he says. They look out at the woods together. Still, he says, I'm happy about all this. I made it to this point. I know I was always so weak. I couldn't deal with people well, but I still wanted to be loved. I wanted to be needed. All I did was want. But during that time in my life, you appeared. You granted my wish free of charge. You taught me so much. Toru remembers Yuki telling her at the beach, you don't know, do you? It was always me that was being saved. Thank you for always accepting my weakness. In the present, he continues to say, That's why I'm the man I am today. It was you, Tohru. You made me human. You raised me as a person. To me, you were practically my mother. Tohru tears up. Yuki steps off the porch and faces her. There, I finally said it. That's how I really feel, I guess. Kinda lame, though. It's not, she protests. At any rate, you were like that to everyone else, too. Your existence is so warm. You're such a gentle presence. This is the time we're all going to new environments so we can live our own lives, and suddenly we're all thinking of you. Are you doing well? You're not crying, are you? Are you still smiling? Are you truly happy on this day? We're all thinking it, all of us, and we'll keep thinking it. We see the Junichi and Akito smiling, looking sort of wistful, and the narration, everyone loves you. Tohru cries and Yuki extends his hand. I'm so glad that I met you. I'm glad that you were here for us. Thank you. Thank you, Tohru. Tohru's taken aback at him calling her by her first name. She smiles a big smile. They shake hands and we see the narration, thank you. I'm off. The house empty, we see faded memory of Kyo, Yuki, Tohru, and Shigure having a meal together at the table. We transition through seasons, years, to the future, and a little girl in pigtails runs down the hallway of a house carrying a cat and rat stuffed animals. She asks her mom who's decorating cake where Kyoko and Tohru-kun are, and her mom sasses her not to call her grandma and grandpa by their first names. The girl protests that Tohru-kun said it's okay. The girl's father enters and says they're out for their walk and not to get in the way of their lovey-dovey time. He says they're always, and the dialogue trails off. The story ends with Kyo and Tohru walking together, old and gray, and the narration, together, holding hands, repeat the good and the bad, do it all, and pile on the years. That's the end of Fruits Basket.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, it's happening.
We made it.
We did it.
We did the thing.
We did it only a year and a half of our lives. I realized recently that we've recorded over 100 episodes together. This is 65, but like because of all the anime breaks and stuff, this is like 105 or something. So yay us.
Yay.
Yay. Just saying.
Did a thing. We saw it to the end.
We saw it to the end. Now we just have to finish the anime.
Well, they have to finish the anime so that we can finish it.
Yeah, that's true.
They need to see it to the end first.
Yeah, good point. Anyway, do you have things to discuss? Do you want to do it? Do you want to start? This is our last episode.
Ow, hey.
Oh, don't let Bird bite you.
What's something to say? Yeah.
He's like, there wasn't enough
Not
burb in
enough
this
burb,
story.
yeah.
Yes.
He's like, I can't believe we only saw the burb in flashbacks. What the heck?
I don't think we even ever see Kureno as a bird. It's always just like generic birds, isn't it? Like, did they ever have
Yeah.
a... I mean, there's like an illustration of a little bird. Like,
Sad Kareno bird.
yes. But I don't know if there's ever like him as a bird.
I don't think so. They
don't
talk
think so.
about it. Like, Kito's like, what's it like to fly?
He's like, it's pretty rad, yo.
Yeah.
Because it was the 80s, right? I mean, that was when Kureno was happy. I mean,
I think it's funny. It's like, oh, all my friends stopped turning into animals. Let's go see some
animals.
animals.
It's true. And then Toru's like, I know what to do. Let's go to pet all these cats.
Yeah. Because the zoo just has like a mini cat room. You just go pet cats.
Just so that there can be a cat that like
Yeah.
completely ignores him.
Mm-hmm.
Treats him like a regular cat. There's no
Yeah.
dramatic conversations.
It's like, food? No? Okay.
No? Okay, bye. I thought it was interesting that the cat that stares at him looks a lot more realistic than sometimes we've seen like cats before. Like,
Mhm.
I think we talked a long time ago about if there's a reason that Takaya like represents the animals of the zodiac in a, cute merchandisable way.
Mhm.
But and like that some of them have more detail than others and stuff like that. But I do think it's interesting that this one cat has this like very slightly more realistic cat look than like Kyo ever did.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like purposely significant.
Mm-hmm.
It has a kind of vacant cat stare.
Yeah.
I say that
Yeah, it
out
could
of love
be,
and
like-
affection.
Yeah. Like to represent it being, like there's no connection there. He's not
Mhm.
seeing anything beyond just, an animal.
Yeah, I do think that it's notable. So
Mm-hmm.
I would assume that that's why.
Yeah.
That one gets a lot more detail than the one that Toru is holding later too.
Yeah. It looks like a like a Beanie Baby, the one she's holding.
It looks like the one that was sassy to Kyo and Kyoto.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it does look like it's very maybe it's supposed to be a hairless cat. I mean,
Not enough wrinkles.
Yeah, that's true. Like all the cats are like mew mew. It's funny. And then there's the one that Hana's holding is great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cat that stares Kyo down looks very cat like. And then yeah, Tohru has like the Beanie Baby cat.
Like Uo and Hana hassling him.
Who doesn't? I like how Uo's like go somewhere flashier on a first date. It's like,
yeah. I like how Tohru takes it like really serious. Like, oh, it was my idea. Should I have done something else? And they're like, nah, we're just giving him a hard time.
Yes. No matter where they went, they would have given him a hard time.
Yeah. Went to an amusement park, they'd be like, God, it's so flashy. Shouldn't you go somewhere small and intimate on the first date?
So much screaming. Not very good atmosphere. I was thinking that myself. I was like, I don't think you should go to an amusement park on your first date.
Yeah.
It seems like a good way to like, first of all, you're going to be all gross and sweaty because you're going to be walking around all day. Second, I don't know.
These are good. You have an automatic conversation topic.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, look, animals, look. Yeah, it's true. I think that one of the first dates I went on with my husband was to a zoo.
It's like, if you're me, you can just like tell them animal trivia until they get tired of you.
Until they decide they want to have a podcast with you about animals.
Yes.
Yeah, the date is cute. Hana and Uo were, I mean, as predicted, they did say they were going to go on their first date. I don't remember which chapter it was, but it was last episode.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
And he was just like, I don't have a choice.
Yes. I love when Tohru comes out of the bathroom, though, and he's just, like, leaning with this, like, crazy inner monologue about Shisho and Hana. He's, like, super worried about them as a serious...
It's actually, like, really charming, because he's like, if Shisho's happy, that's all that matters, right? I have no right to...
I know, it's really cute. And Tohru comes out when he's having this, like, existential crisis.
Yeah.
Just like, It's really funny. Also, loved how Uo was like, yeah, we like you even though you're dumb, dumbass.
Yeah.
As, like, the climax of their teasing of Kyo. Which is really funny. She's like, even though we can't find a good reason to hate you, but you're still an idiot.
Yeah.
It's cute. They're being good friends.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, what's a good friendship if you don't tease your friends' potential boyfriends? That's the whole point.
Yeah.
You have to be brought and judged, like Ayame said. I mean...
Yes. Brought before the council.
Pretty much.
Hope you don't get voted off the island.
Pretty much. Isn't that what everybody does with their friends, like, group of significant others, and you bring them to the friend group? You're obviously judging them and texting your other friends under the table about them.
Like, oh my god, check out this loser.
This guy's a fucking dumbass. So then they go to... Kyo wants to go visit Kyoko's grave. And then that's where he asks if Tohru will join him on his adventure.
Magical mystery tour.
He's like, roll up! I didn't notice until this read through that Tohru's wearing... I think it's like... I guess it's supposed to be... It's like this little vision of the future. I don't know if it's like particularly Tohru's, but it looks like she closes her eyes right beforehand. I always just interpret it as kind of like just like a scene that's showing the future. Mm-hmm. But I think this time, looking at it more closely, it's like maybe it could be like her thinking about the future specifically. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I never noticed until this time. This series has been out since 2006. This volume's been out since 2006. I never realized that she's wearing a ring in that little flash forward or whatever you call it, like a
Imagine
vision.
spot.
Huh?
Is it Imagine spot?
Yes. Is that a technical term? A technical term?
I think it's TV tropes term.
It's cute. She's bringing him some lunch, and he's training or something, and training at the dojo, and it's cute. And it's nice.
And he's like, look at my wife.
And everybody's like, hey, it's Kyo's wife. Everybody loves her. She's so nice and awesome, probably. Probably. I meant probably not. That's what they're saying, not they say probably.
Awesome.
But anyways, very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
He also says at the grave that he tried to run away before, but Shisho stopped him. Is he referring to running away to the woods?
I guess it's the only one that makes sense.
He's like, and then I ran away to join the circus when I was 5, and that's why I've never ridden a
Yeah.
Ferris wheel, because she took me away from there, and he never took me back. He says, I once tried to find somewhere on my own without relying on any of that stuff, but he obviously stopped me. So, I assume that that's that. I didn't realize I was going to come back in this scene. And then, the thing that I also found interesting and touching in this is that he asked Tohru all this stuff, and she says that she'll live with him. And then he turns to the grave and says, like, I'll keep my promise that I made before.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
It's very sweet.
Yeah, it's sweet how, like he's saying he'll keep the promise, like, without even knowing that that's what Kyoko's last, like, wish was.
Yeah, that's true. And then it goes into that scene, which is heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I noticed that there's this little... So Tohru makes this little face, this, like, smile where she says, like, I might not look like it, but if I find there's something I shouldn't back down from, then I don't, or whatever. I'm pretty stubborn. And it's really similar. It's this, like, little smile with, like, little, like, dimply sides of her mouth. It doesn't seem to happen very much in the series, but the other time that I feel like it's prominent is when Kyo catches her after she gets out of the hospital, and they're talking about all their feelings. And then she says, like, didn't you know that I love you? That feeling can't be beat. And then she, like, giggles. It's really similar to that, and I noticed it, and I thought it was sweet, too. It's the same kind of thing. Almost like it's her little, like, mischievous side. We don't really get to see very much. I just thought it was cute. A notable tiny
Yeah, it's
little
also...
smile.
Yeah, it's kind of cute to see her, like owning that as a positive thing, because she spent like a lot of the series worrying about, like, oh, like, it's probably wrong of me to get involved, but
Yeah. It's like, I don't want to get involved with this crazy family, but I need to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now she's like, no, that's just who I am, and it's a good trait.
It's fine. It's fine to be stubborn
It's
about
worked.
things that are important.
Yeah.
It's worked. I guess then we should talk about the Kyoko dying scene, which is so depressing. It's like how to read. Yeah, this time, every time I read the series over and over again through the years, different things. I think that I talked about this before, I'm sure. The different things always, it touched me emotionally in a different way every time I read it. And this one was the one where I was, like, reading it and tearing up. I was like, she's still in high school. Like, it's so sad. We talked about that before. We talked about it at the beginning of the series. Like, she's a baby.
Yeah.
And then Kyoko says it again here in her narration. I was like, oh no, it's so sad. Then we finally get the reveal of what she actually was trying to tell Kyo. All this time he believes that Kyoko said she'll never forgive him for not helping her. He interprets it as being like for not helping her, not saving her from the car. But what she was saying was, if you don't keep your promise, I'll never forgive you.
Yeah.
So yes. Without realizing it, he accomplished her dying words and the promise that he made with her as a child. And then at the end, she is, like, reunited with Katsuya, I guess, in the afterlife. So,
yeah.
Also very touching.
Yeah, I like how she has the thing where she's saying she wants Tohru to live, like, the kind of life where at the end people will say you did good. And then it ends with, like, it seems like Katsuya telling her
you did good.
Yeah.
Yes. That also was like, like yes, she's like, I hope
she
that
did do good.
She did good. did. She has these wonderful lines that are repeated multiple times that time, and also at the very end of the story, the repeat the good and the bad, do it all, and pile on the years. That's also what she says during that moment. A good sentiment. In the end, Kyoko's brought back to...
Yeah, I'd say that's...
final wisdom drop.
Yeah. I'd say that's also kind of another variation of that general theme of, like, you know, like, in order to grow as a person, you have to, you know, you got to mess up.
In order to gain knowledge, something must be exchanged.
Yes, the equivalent exchange of Fruba.
Yes.
And you're talking about how it, like, ended on Kyoko. Also, the final volume has Kyoko on the cover.
Yes.
Which is nice.
That's right.
I think the previous one had Katsuya.
Yes.
We haven't been paying that much attention to them.
And the collector's edition one has Katsuya on the front and has Kyoko in her middle school uniform on the back.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, and the collector's edition, the first one has Tohru, and then it has Kyoko on the back as like an adult in her red butterfly jacket.
Yeah, they all have, like, new illustrations, don't they?
So yeah, on the original Tokyo Pop one, it's Kyoko.
Yeah.
Just smiling, being cute.
Yep.
And then the little inside picture is Tohru, which is cute too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like Kyoko from like immediately before the series.
It's like that one thing of her that you see a lot. I think there's like a similar photo that Tohru has.
Mm-hmm.
She's just sitting cross-legged and smiling for people who don't have this edition.
Yeah.
So it's a different illustration than the one in the collector's edition first volume, on the collector's edition first volume too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is another repeating of that theme of like you have to have good and bad experiences, and that's part of what helps you have a well-rounded life.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna keep messing up, but you're gonna keep doing good things too.
Mm-hmm. What she says is, please let Tohru be happy. Please let her be loved by many people. I want her to live so people can tell her you did good. Repeat the good and the bad. Do it all and pile on the years. So the you did good, yeah, it's like, it feels like it's Katsuya, what's meant to represent is Katsuya telling Kyoko that. And then the repeat the good and the bad, do it all and pile on the years is the final closing narration of Furuba.
Yeah.
So, this is nice.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of discussion we're going to have this time is like, and it's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not much like actively happening anymore. It's just like wrapping up the emotional stuff.
The Kyoko's final words, I think, do, again, yeah, like, I don't know, like we were just saying, it adds on to the theme that we've seen repeated so many times in the story. Mm-hmm. But other than that, a lot of it is just like, this is what's happening now.
Yeah. Just kind of a don't worry, they're doing good kind of thing. Like,
everybody's gonna be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Rin thinks that Kyo and Tohru should break up, but I mean,
except maybe Yuki, because he's probably gonna poison himself.
Kakeru's gonna find a dead body for sure.
Yeah. He's like, fuck, I was kidding.
He's like, God damn it. He comes, the first time he visits, he puts up like a poison control magnet on his fridge, and he's like, just call this number.
Yeah.
And brings him like a first aid kit.
Mm-hmm.
When I met my husband, or like when I moved into the first apartment that I moved into, not with him, but like while I knew him, the first housewarming present he gave me was a fire extinguisher. This is a housewarming present he gives to everyone. I feel like Kakeru would do the same thing. Like, yeah. Yuki, you need this. You'd be like, thanks, and then he needs it like 2 days later.
Yeah. Trying
to make toast or something.
He's like, do you know the gas from the stoves catch fire?
They're like, just stop. They get him like a hot plate, and they're like, just plug it in when you want to use it. Don't touch anything else in your kitchen.
Yeah.
Yuki gives Machi a key so that she can come to. And she's like, I would never think that you're cheating. And then he like yanks the key away, and she's like, give it.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to throw it out the window. At least that's what I was.
It could be, as he like stands up, and she's like, wait.
Yeah. Like how he does it, he's so cheerful about it too. Like it's just smiles throughout the entire interaction.
It's peak asshole Yuki. That's what makes it great.
There's a I don't know if I can find it.
There's an author's note about Yuki.
Yeah, there's an author note where it says something like, he got a little mean, and it's really funny.
It's during that scene, the one we were just talking about with Yuki and Machi.
Mm-hmm.
It says, I went through a pretty difficult labor giving birth to Yuki, and we both suffered and suffered. But now I honestly believe that he was worth it. He gained a little confidence and got a little mean. Laugh. I would like to have drawn Yuki a little more, which I think would have been nice.
Yeah, it's like that's pretty much his character arc. He gained a little confidence and got a little mean.
I think he was always a little mean. He just didn't have the confidence to be mean.
Yeah. It's his true form as asshole Yuki.
Yes.
I also like how in that scene, like, the big Mogeta is there.
Oh, yeah.
And B, her room looks a little bit cleaner. Like,
yes.
Like,
tried to clean up for him to rule over. Like how they have little like cups.
Her seats are a little rumpled and stuff, but otherwise, it's not like the Sea of Decay from before.
He wouldn't have noticed or cared.
No.
He's like,
but I think it shows. Memories. Yeah, it's nice. It shows like her being, growing as a person and dealing with her issues.
She says that the meat was from her family, so I wonder if she saw her family. It's not really said, but it's implied.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It seems like it might imply they're trying to reconnect a little bit.
Yeah, maybe. And like, I guess reconnect with like Kakeru's family too, because they sent a gift. They knew she was going to see Kakeru, so
yeah,
a gesture of goodwill.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed nice.
Gesture of goodwill that gets smashed into Kakeru's face.
He deserved it.
Yeah. I like how he's like says the line. Yuki's like, if Machi hears you say that, she'll hurt you. And then he says the same line and she hits him.
Yes.
And he's like, I told you.
I told you. Komaki's concerned about the meat.
Yeah.
Because Kakeru deserved to get punched in the face. The whole interaction between Komaki and Kakeru and Yuki is also really cute. Where Komaki's like, hey, are you guys worried about getting into college? And they're like, no. Mm-hmm. I guess for anyone who's not in the know, but probably most people who listen to this are, it's extremely difficult to get into, like, it's extremely competitive, I think, to get into universities in Japan. Mm-hmm. So there's like a whole entrance exam process, so normally people would be quite concerned. It just adds to Yuki's conceited character, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
In the most recent anime episode, Rin called him an arrogant idiot or something, and I was like, he is kind of arrogant. That's what's great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what was the other thing he said? He said something else like that was just like casually like confident in kind of an annoying way, and someone was like, it was Machi, and she was like, is he secretly mean or something?
Yes. I think it was the same thing. It was about a similar thing where she was like, hey, worried about college and whatever, and he's like, nah.
Yeah.
She's like, wow, he sounded really conceited just now.
Yeah.
Or I think she said, are the entrance exams hard? And he was like, nah. And then it's just really funny. Mm-hmm. Then the guess kind of like the end part of the series is all the characters thinking about the way that meeting Tohru impacted their lives. Mm-hmm. And going through all these different scenes of different characters. I especially enjoyed Ayame and Mine's like scene where they're like picking out dresses to send them so they can live a like fantastical and eccentric life or whatever, fabulous and eccentric life. And then Ayame is like, and then the purpose of adults is to, pack up instant ramen and send it to their kids when they leave the nest. Yeah. And I was like, this is too real and good. It was really cute. Yeah. And they're picking out a dress for Yuki for his eccentric life.
I like how they're like talking about it like it's their own kids leaving.
Yes. Mina's like, it's like I never realized it before, but now it's actually happening. It's so sad when children leave the nest. And it's like, I think Ayame and Mine do think of them as their children, which is cute. Except for Kyo. He'd just be like, Kyokichi, you don't get any instant ramen.
It's like, and that guy.
He puts like a catnip toy in the box for him.
Yeah. It's like, I love all my children equally. Earlier that day, I don't care for Kyo.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he loves Yuki most of all, so. Yeah. Some of the other ones I think are like what you'd expect, but I also love the scene with like Momiji and Haru and Rin, where Momiji's like, I'm gonna pinch that Kyo, and then Rin's like, they should break up. And Momiji's like, oh, she's mad. And Haru's like, oh, she's pouting.
Yeah, I also like that Rin's just like doodling on her sketchbook there. Like,
yes,
she's not
very cute.
It doesn't seem as like viscerally embarrassed about it.
And also, like, Momiji's there, like, she doesn't really visit people other than Tohru and Haru, so, like, the fact that he's even there, I mean, I don't know, we've never seen them together before, but I was like, oh, that's interesting, like, maybe she's, like, opening up to more people coming and seeing her and stuff like that, so. Yeah, and then being more in the open about her, I don't know, self, so.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then there's the return of, Ritsu and Mitsuru.
Yeah.
It's like, yay, we finally got their scene. I love how happy Mi-chan is about Shigure quitting writing.
Yeah. It's just like the evil is defeated or something.
Yes. And then Ritsu's like, I'm so happy for you.
My headcanon is now that all of Shigure's novels were like thinly veiled explorations of his pent-up frustrations of his relationship with Akito since he stopped writing them. Now that they're like in a semi-happy relationship.
I support this headcanon. I like that he has, I think he has a pen name, too, because doesn't he release, like, really gaudy ones under a different pen name?
Yeah.
The, like, Summer Colored Sai ones? I forget. I'm sure we talked about it before. Because they showed the cover for some of them. Mm-hmm. And then there's, like, the fancy ones, like the one that Shisho was reading, where he's like, oh, I'm reading Shigure-kun's new book while he was cooking.
Yeah.
I was like, at least Yuki doesn't read while he cooks.
Yeah.
In theory. In the scene with Ritsu and Kagura, Ritsu is also wearing, like, men's clothes, which is notable, I think. Mm-hmm. And giving some of, like, the kimonos or whatever to Kagura, it seems like.
Yeah.
But that's how Kagura and Ritsu continue to have their, like, close relationship that they had as kids and stuff, too.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah. I also like how Kakura's like, my job's important, and whatever, being real sassy.
I'm way too busy for this garbage.
To care about romance. It's like, I'm way not over Kyo. Yeah. I mean... Oh, and then we got the scene with Hattori and Mayuko together. Yay! I always like that scene, too. Where she teases him about going to Okinawa. I like how she's, like, laughing it up. And then she starts to get a little bit, like, embarrassed. And then he starts giggling. She's like, cut it out! It's wonderful. Yeah.
Because she's like, I know I deserve it, but please stop.
But please stop. Yeah, exactly. Just the image of Hattori chuckling also is wonderful. It's just like...
Yeah. I like how he's like... It's like, I guess I'll go on vacation.
Yeah.
He's probably like staring at a map and he's like, I guess I'll start from the bottom.
He's like, I really want to go some more places in Japan. And just like looks at it. It's like, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. It's a very Hattori way to decide on a vacation.
The most logical possible way.
Yeah.
It's like, so semi-indifferent, where it's just like, I want a vacation, I don't really care where, and I guess I'll go somewhere in Japan.
Yeah. He's like, I haven't been allowed to leave the house for most of my life, so...
I wonder if he's ever been on a vacation. I think he was like, oh, I've never been on like a decent vacation or something like that, so...
I guess maybe if he gets like dragged along to beach houses or something when Akito wants
Akito's like, Hattori, take me skiing in Nagano. Yeah. Kureno, I want to go to the beach. Like, I don't know, whatever. And then makes Kureno carry her on his back while they go hiking in the beautiful Japanese wilderness.
Yeah. And then goes and complains about being exhausted to Hattori.
He's like, really? He's still wearing a stethoscope from work. And he's like, really? That's what doctors do, right?
Yes. That's what night doctors do.
That's what the night school doctor does. Final episode. Final night school doctor. There's also the scene with like Shigure and Akito as well.
Yeah.
Where Shigure is like playfully teasing her, which was nice. Mm-hmm. They actually looked like they were being a nice couple, which was cute.
Yeah. Like Akito's like, I'll just go see her whenever I want.
Yeah, I don't give a shit, Akito says.
He's like, I'm the head of the family. I can do what I want.
I don't need to say goodbye. Based on what we've seen recently in Akito's character, I feel like it's very befitting. We're just like, no, it's not necessary.
I feel like she's probably just like, I think it will be a downer for everyone else if I'm there. So
maybe.
I'll visit later.
Perhaps, yeah.
I feel like it's implied that she's like working hard at family business, because she's like, no, I'm going to go home and work since you're going to goof off tomorrow. Yeah,
and it seems like they're working together too, where Shigure is like, oh, yeah, we're done with the errands. You want to go do something fun? She's like, no, I can't. I have other things to do that I need to do at home. So it's nice. It seems like Shigure seems to be helping her at least do something. So
yeah,
like maybe he gets more involved with the family too. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, since he gave up writing too, so maybe he is. It's always interesting. I wonder what Akito's actually doing, but yeah.
Yeah. The same mysterious computer stuff Kureno's doing.
Yeah. They're actually computer hackers, obviously.
Yeah. But yeah, and it's like Shigeru's moved back in, obviously. Talking about how the house is going to be empty. So.
Yes. I do like the little scene at the end where they have kind of like the empty house with this like ghosty image of them eating a meal together. Came back at the end, guys.
Yes, I made a note of it.
I think there was also petals too. Am I wrong? Maybe I was thinking of something else. Well, there's a bunch of flowers at the end in the last scene, but I don't think there was any white petals. That all had to do mostly with the curse, so.
Yeah, it was mostly about like stuff changing, like positively and negatively to do with the curse and bonds and stuff. So you could put it in there, but it's kind of served its purpose.
Yeah.
Uo and Kureno do talk about petals, though.
Honorary petal discussion.
Yes.
We get to see a little bit about what's going on with the family. It seems like there's still a lot. Yuki also said that there's a lot going on at home, like when they asked about his parents co-signing for a place for him and stuff like that too. So it seems like there's still some chaos at the main house.
Yeah.
But Akito's working hard to fix it, which is nice. Living up to what she wanted to do.
I feel like at least co-signed by Ayame might as well not be co-signed by anybody.
He's like, I, sir, am a dressmaker. I craft men's fantasies for my job. And they're like, what? He obviously has enough money to rent a store.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's just like, I make money. And they're like, okay, good enough.
He just drops a bag of money on the desk. They're like, what a fascinating and elegant man, or whatever it is. Oh, we also get the scene at the end with Kyo and Yuki, where they call each other stupid rat and stupid cat, which is cute. Like their little non-fight with their little satisfied smiles is very nice. Also very sweet.
Friends.
Yeah, they're friends and they tease each other and it's nice. They don't have to fight to the death every time they see each other.
Yeah.
And then, of course, one of the other most touching scenes in Furupa where Yuki finally calls Tohru by her name. Or he calls her by her fucking name or whatever, like you said last time.
Yeah, I joked about it, but it is genuinely touching.
It's very sweet.
It's sweet that he, like this is the thing, you know, we just finished up the beach arc in the anime, where he's like, someday I'll tell you. And, like, he finally, like, tells her about, like, how he really feels about her and
the day
all
is
that
now.
Emotional stuff, so.
And thanks her for how he was able to, like, lean on her and all the things he learned from her.
Yeah. And able to do it without feeling ashamed and embarrassed.
Then he says goodbye. It was very sweet. There's, like, this narration.
Sorry, I was just looking at the author's notes. I found the one on Aikido, and the first thing says, even I didn't expect her to make friends with Hana-chan. Laugh.
Nobody saw that coming. The little transition to the future is also nice. You see kind of like this like sparkling sea and then like the falling leaves and the snow, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's implying the passage of time and maybe another place, mysterious future location. Little kid. It's very cute.
Yeah. I like how the like final page is like the little like the shrine to Toru's mom, which has grown now.
Yes, right.
And it has her little zodiac figurines, and it has Kyo's beads, and it has the hat. And I think the change that gets me is that it's not just a picture of her mom anymore. It's of the three of them.
It's very touching too. There's like the other photos that are clearly like there's like a wedding photo and maybe kids.
Obviously their kid, and
I like to interpret the one on the bottom as being like Shisho with one of their kids. But but yeah, it is touching that it's like a photo of her father and her mother, but she kind of made peace with them too eventually.
Yeah, because it was like the whole like catalyst for like confronting that idea was being like, how come you don't have any pictures of your dad? They're all of your mom. Didn't they both die?
Yeah. Aren't both your parents equally dead?
Yeah. Courtesy of Hero.
Yeah. Sounds like something he would say. There's the way that he would say it. It's also something that she felt comfortable telling Kyo in the series and wasn't able to tell anybody else, like how she really felt about him, why she didn't really have any photos of him and stuff like that. So it maybe that's it's something that she, I guess, has moved on from, like having those feelings about him and probably feeling guilty about it too, which I think was the thing that was really driving her to behave in a certain way.
Yeah.
So
close the lid.
Well, she opened the lid and then closed it again.
Yeah. All lids are now open. That's what the last page should have been, just an open box.
Open box. The beads are in an open box. The metaphor's there. I do like how she picks up all the beads for him. I think it's like, I don't know, it's a good symbolic gesture in the story.
Yeah, it's a very Tohru thing.
He goes on about it. Yeah, it's a very Tohru thing, and it's...
Yeah, I particularly like the comment he makes where, like implied that it's not just about, like, his past, but, like, the past of, like, all the cats who've had to, like, suffer through...
Yeah, there's a significance...
that in the past,
that's beyond just Kyo to this object.
Yeah.
So it's something that should be, like, you know, taken care of and respected. Yeah, I think so. But then Kyo is like, I couldn't do it, so I'm glad that she did it because, you know, obviously it means something quite different to him, I'm sure.
Yeah, it also shows his, like, in that line, his kind of, like, emotional growth there, because he says, like, even now I would be happy to see them gone, but I know that, like, in the future I might feel differently. Yeah,
he kind of lived this, like, fly by the seat of your pants lifestyle before, and I mean, like, he says it himself later when he's asking her to, like, travel with him, where he's like, I lived in this world where there were no expectations that I would have any kind of future, and I avoided a life on so many different ways. I feel like that's his growth is kind of represented when he's talking about that too, where it's like, I want to be involved in things. Like, I see a future. I know that I can, like, I have a perspective on life where, like, I don't know how you describe this in a way that makes sense. You can see that in the future you might regret doing something in the present. Does that Whereas I think if you're like living your life as if you have no future ahead of you, maybe you don't have that kind of thought in the present.
Yeah. And it's obviously like a big representation, because it's been a thing throughout the series about like the idea of the future bothering all of the Zodiac, but especially Kyo. The whole idea of like why am I planning for a future I'm not going to have, kind of concept.
Yeah.
And I especially like the like direct contrast of him saying like, well, I'm going to inherit Shisho's dojo one day, when like he used to talk about like, well, at least there'll be someone to keep Shisho company after I get locked away. And
at least Hana will keep Shisho company. I mean, yeah, exactly. He's making some plans for the future and trying to like give himself, like, go and find experiences that'll help him prepare for the future, as opposed to just letting things happen, you know?
Yeah, and like it's a pretty well planned thing. Like he's like it's like Shisho knows someone with the dojo, and I can, get in there and keep working at that while I do other things. Like he actually has like a plan rather than just like, I'm gonna go somewhere.
Yeah. He's not just like, come with me into the world and we'll He's like, no, I'm gonna go here. I'm doing this thing. I think this experience will be good. Here's my rationale. And she's like, sure. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
You just agree?
Yeah, like, it's like, I didn't think you'd answer right away.
Yeah. Of course you would. He's like, I know I'm being selfish. And she's like, it's fine.
Yeah, I like how she like kind of tells him like it's okay to be selfish, because like it's kind of a thing he's told her in the past.
It's also nice that she's like, I'm sure of myself. You talked about it earlier, where she was like, I don't know if I should be getting involved in this. I don't know about this, or I don't know. But this is also her kind of, it's the same conversation that we're talking about, where she's like, yeah, I'm stubborn. And she's like, I know this is a good thing. I'm confident in what's going on here, so I'm not going to give up on this relationship. She said in the last chapter that she wanted to like work at this relationship because it's means something to her and it's special. So we get that reinforced one more time here.
Yep.
I also like what Kyo says about love. He says, I know that loving someone isn't just loving what's in front of you. There's also the past and future. Loving someone means embracing it all. And he's like, oh, that's what I think anyway, which is good. I always like kind of interpreted one way that I guess you could think about like her picking up the beads is like it's also symbolic for like, her acceptance of his past self and stuff like that too, and keeping it as something to remember. Yeah. So, anyway.
Yeah, and that's been like kind of a thing between the two of them. Like we just talked about how like Tohru felt comfortable sharing
about her father,
her like her complicated feelings about Katsuya with him, and it was obviously something that she felt like ashamed over. And so it was kind of like revealing that, like, I think she called it like the dirty part of herself or something like that. And so like there's kind of a thing about them, a continuing thing between the two of them of like revealing like their past selves that might like complicate their relationship with each other, but being accepted.
Yeah, I think like you could look at a lot of those items that are on the shelf at the end, like the hat, like that was something that Kyo probably really hated about himself, was like he was really envious of Yuki. That's why when Yuki picked up the hat, he was like, fine, just keep it. And it bothered him during the series, and then now it's like on the keepsake shelf. And then obviously the bracelet, he was ashamed of the true form and felt burdened by it, and she accepted that. I mean, obviously, like then there's like the Junichi ornaments and stuff like that. That's all sort of wrapped up in the curse. And then Toru's parents, like her dad, we were just talking about. Yeah. Any other things you want to say about this chapter for next time? There's no spoilers. Yeah. Do you have any spoilers to talk about? I mean, I guess there would technically be spoilers for another, but
yeah. But I haven't read it.
Yeah, well, I've read part of it.
A little bit of it.
Same.
There's a preview at the back of this volume of Natsuki Takai's older series, Tsubasa, and the change in style is like striking when you flip between these.
Oh, after the fan art?
Yeah.
The 80s have come back to haunt. But there's still... What blows my mind is that there's still manga that's being drawn, like, today, every day, that looks exactly like this. And it's, like, so, like, typical of, like, that time period. It's just really funny to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny, because, like, the Tsubasa drawings, even compared to early Furuba, is pretty different. Like, it's a more, like, generic manga of that time kind of style. Like, it's, like...
Yeah.
It's like you can see like the development of like her own style between that and Furuba, and then how her style changed through Furuba. So.
I think the one that she drew after Furuba is more like the end of Furuba. Yeah, it is almost like she developed like more of her own kind of style.
Because this is a bit like it looks like a different style. Like if I saw this out of context, I wouldn't think it was Natsuki Takaya, even like from early Furuba.
It looks like the person who draws like Kadocha. That's what it looks like to
or
me.
like Fushigi Yogi.
Yeah, any
of those kind of things. That like that's a very specific era of shoujo.
Yes, any of the above. Yes. It's rated older teen.
Ooh.
Not appropriate for the Furuba audience, apparently. Still labeled romance comedy.
Yep. Well, this volume
this one
was
is more of a romance comedy. Yes, yeah, that's true. There's just all their like lovey-dovey things, and then Yuki being sassy and being funny, and Hana and Uo being sassy and being funny. Good. Okay, I don't have any other things to say about this series for now, but next time we'll have our finale and we can gab it up.
Yay.
Not that we haven't been doing that for the last year, but we get to gab it up extra about the series overall.
Yeah. Gab it up with no limitations.
No holds barred gabbing session. Sunday. Yeah, next time we'll talk about that. I hope everybody joins us for that. I hope that you send questions.
Demand that you send questions.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, next time we'll see you for our finale episode.
Yay. We did it, guys.
We did it. We read it. We read the thing. We talked about it.
The thing.
Yeah. We'll talk about it a little bit more next time.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you all for listening. We'll see you then.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, that reminded me. I meant to make fun of how the wind strategically blew Rin's hair in the anime episode. I forgot. During the scene where they kiss. I was like, there's the wind that only blows for Rin's hair again.
She just carries around a box fan with her and sets it up before she talks to anybody.
She strategically places it before anything dramatic happens. Yeah.
She's like, this seems like a good spot to have a dramatic scene. Let me go plug this into
Yuki
a tree.
walks up, and then she has like a remote where she turns the fan up. Like, she has a remote where she turns it on. The wind suddenly blows, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And she's like, "Nothing," and then like flips her hair.
These are good. You have an automatic conversation topic.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, look, animals, look. Yeah, it's true. I think that one of the first dates I went on with my husband was to a zoo.
It's like, if you're me, you can just like tell them animal trivia until they get tired of you.
Until they decide they want to have a podcast with you about animals.
Yes.
That's what I do at work parties, because nobody's offended by animal trivia. So my most recent work party that I went to, I was like this whale that picked up someone's phone that dropped off of a dock and gave it back to them, and people think that it's a spy or whatever. And I'm also like, did you know that squid have 3 hearts? These are all my fun
Pretty
facts.
sure I could come up with some offensive animal trivia.
I mean, yeah, you could be like, did you know cats have like a barbed penis? And people are like, what are you talking about? Like,
anything about bonobos.
Yeah, pretty much. They're like, I just wanted to drink my wine over here. Like, leave me alone.
It's like, that's why there's so much screaming when the cats are mating.
Yeah, exactly. We're full of good facts. Anyway.
Well, I didn't know it was cool when I was a teenager either, so.
Are you saying that Fruits Basket isn't cool? I mean, you're like, oh, I knew for sure that wasn't cool. I mean,
I bought a pocket watch when I was 15.
Pocket watches are cool. Just wanted to be cool. I'm sure your parents were like, is this what the kids are doing these days?
Yeah.
Like, just gonna use it to hide her weed. That's what
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think most of their reactions to my idiosyncratic interests was like, whatever, she could be doing drugs.
My mom was like, well, we had the Beatles, so they have the kids these days have other things we don't understand, like anime.